Hey, my name's Shawn Shaler. That person up
You know,
there
I'm
is my
Chris.
friend
Dang it,
Chris
I'm on
Ford.
mute.
And he's just going to do his own introductions now. Fine, take away my one consistent role on the show, which is introductions.
That's true.
That's it's all I contribute, Chris. That's Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek. We are Avatar: The Last Podcasters, and we're also feeling a little like stretching the Legend of Korra out even further than we already have. Season 3 and Season 4, it's just been wow. It's like a year's worth of content out of 25 episodes. But hey, so that being said, we're going to talk about some news items, and we have essentially two news items, or two and a half, depending on how you're counting. And Chris, let's jump right into those first, I think.
All right, so the first item of news came out probably maybe a week or two ago. I think probably 2 weeks ago. The last 3 weeks have been just a blur for me.
Yes, they have.
Anyway, probably came out 2 weeks ago, and that was news from avatarnews.com or co, depending on what.
AvatarNews.co.
Yes. Um, and I don't know where exactly they got their sources from on this, but Avatar News has been they've been pretty solid. They've been pretty solid.
Everything that we've cited from them has never been proven not true.
That is true. So coming from them, they said that there will be. At first, it was announced that. Well, I won't say announced. At first, it was maybe rumored or announced. There will be two. I think I actually think that was announced. There'll be two um, movies out of Avatar Studios, and but now it's been confirmed since it's been three. And Avatar News.co or com, said that the three movies will one of them will be about Kyoshi, the other will be about Zuko, and then the other will be about Korra, which are like honestly the three probably best characters to do movies off of.
Which of these was
I
the
would probably
biggest
say
surprise to you? If you
that's a
had,
good
because
question.
I
Kyoshi definitely
have
wasn't. I think Kyoshi was a must.
agree.
To me, because to me, Kyoshi was an absolute must because she is one of the most celebrated avatars. Like people love freaking Kyoshi, and and they know her. She has really great um, fan recognition, and her story. There's still so much more to tap into, and so many people don't know really a lot of stuff about her.
Yeah, we got like 200
Um,
years left of Kyoshi to work through.
yeah, yeah. Um, and also I thought they would adapt the Kyoshi novels, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Um, Korra surprised.
Korra, when you said
Actually,
Korra, that was an instant surprise to me. I just, obviously it's nothing against Korra. We love Korra. I just, that didn't seem like a direction I thought they would go. So I will say that was an immediate surprise in my mind.
yeah. So that surprised me because to me, Korra's story is like done, done. But it's like her
She's like an
character arc.
NFL running back. She had 4 seasons, and that's enough.
And then after that point, you're overpaying.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
uh,
It makes me
I
think of
was,
this tweet. I reshare it every year on Facebook when it comes back up. And it's like me at age 30 thinking I've got a full life ahead of me, and then turning on football, and like, here's the oldest player in the league at 32 years old. What a miracle.
yeah. Um, not Tom Brady. Yeah.
Not Tom Brady.
Uh, yeah. Um, but so her story to me was like it's kind of done, right? It's like she started off as a brash, young, fiery teen, and she ended up, a remarkable woman who is very, a lot more spiritual, just more human, has been through a lot, more empathetic, more sincere. And so, like character story wise, I don't know where they're going to go next. Which we can get into we'll get into speculation later. But um, I'm not just, but yeah, that's probably his most surprising. Zuko to me wasn't surprising because Zuko is Zuko, and he's probably the most beloved character in the not beloved. He's probably the most popular character
I've,
in the series. Iroh is probably the most beloved, but Zuko is probably the most popular character.
I will say I was equal parts, like, not surprised by Kyoshi and Zuko,
Mm,
and
okay.
reciprocally very surprised. by Korra. But as you know, I'm bad at guessing things, so I'm not going to pretend I would have guessed any of these things other than the fact that you
Yeah.
literally pointed out at one point when we were discussing this that, like, hey, Kyoshi'd be a great subject in Zuko. I don't think we were talking about movies specifically,
Mm-hmm.
just content, thinking that Zuko and Kyoshi would be good targets.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be those three.
Looks
Um.
like Kyoshi says 2024, Zuko says
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what they
2025,
said. Yes.
Korra says 2026.
And reading the article, he was like, "Yeah, these dates are like my best guess. I take the dates with more of a grain of salt, and also because just even if those were confirmed lockdown dates, studios move around movie dates all the time, especially in this time
Constantly.
of COVID. Like they they were moving them all around before COVID. Nowadays, it's just like, oh yeah, whatever, just push that out, pull this up, whatever, whatever. Um, so so that is kind of like part A of one news. Actually, now that I think about it, it's three parts. The next piece of it on a recent, and this is confirmed, like firm confirmed. In a recent podcast, I forget what the podcast is called. It's called Comic something podcast. I don't know. It's with Hedra Nirvana and I think other person. Anyway, but Bryan, they had a lot of different Avatar people on that episode, and Mike and Bryan were on it, and they revealed a few little nuggets of information. First off, one of the biggest thing I think coming out of it is they were talking about Avatar Studios, and Bryan and Mike said that they were not adapting anything. They said we're not adapting anything from the graphic novels. We're not adapting anything from the young adult stuff. These are brand new stories, and I'm kind of mixed on this, right? So I'm just like, man, the Kyoshi novels, like I need that adapted. Like I want that adapted. And I think one day we'll probably after Legend of Korra gets her live action adaptation, it will happen inevitably. Like Kyoshi
Yeah,
can get hers.
the Corey novel,
Get
the
her own.
Kyoshi novels are pretty big. It would be cool, like if the first one turned into like pardon me, a mini series or something, more so than a
Yeah.
movie, because it's pretty
Yeah, a
substantial
miniseries
chunks
would
of
be really good.
content.
Man, a miniseries, 6 episode miniseries. I think
I
that would
just
be,
it seems more plausible than fitting it into, especially that
yeah,
first novel. It feels like so much happens.
yeah. I just got done watching Obi-Wan, and I think that's a good, like, tight 6 episodes.
I
Like,
loved
I can
that it
see,
was only 6 episodes. Like that felt right. Didn't feel padded. It was a good
yes, yeah,
finite story.
yeah. Um, I forgot so yeah, so they're doing a completely new story. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed because I really love those Kyoshi novels, and would really like to see those get adapted one day. But it's really I don't know what the heck they're gonna do with Zuko. Like like when I saw the first news that Zuko be adapted, I'm like, oh well, they'll do the search. Like they thought about doing animating the search, sort of telling that story a long time ago. They just didn't do it. So I thought they would do the search, figure out what happened to Zuko's mom, but like, what the heck are they gonna do now? Like, what new stories are they gonna tell? I'm gonna speculate here a little bit. I really hope the story is about Zuko connecting with Azula and kind of like right now in the comic books, Azula is just MIA. She's just she's they don't know what happened. She's missing. I won't say missing. She left purposely. Um, and I would like to see Zuko. And I've said this before. I want to see a story of Zuko trying to be the Iroh to Azula and hopefully we get to maybe it'll be like them being like 20-year old 23 whatever year olds and Zula maybe she gets little preggers and then Zuko and Azula so this is part of my fan theory that I love it's my own personal fan theory that I came up with right so Izumi which is the daughter
It's a very
of
special
Zuko
fan theory. It's yours.
yeah Izumi is the daughter of Zuko although they never say who the mother is they've never said it who the mother is and so I think and I made a video, of course, my most popular video. of who Zuko's mother was. Had a million or so views.
How many views does that have, Chris?
About 1.1 million, maybe 1.2.
Hang on to that number. Hang on to that number.
I'm really not keeping count. Uh,
Oh, I am.
um, but so then I made a follow up video just like maybe Azula is Zuko's baby mama, and of course people comment on like it's always funny because I get even though people might delete a comment, I still see that comment,
Mhm.
and then like it'll be like you guys are effing crazy. Like, why would you even do this? Like, why you guys are sick? And then they watch probably 30 seconds of the video where I clearly state like, no, incest is gross. No, not that. um, so my theory is that Azula is is the biological mother of Izumi, and then and my whole story along my whole fan fiction sort of story slash theory in here is that Azula gets pregnant by somebody. I don't know who yet or what or why, but she's dealing with it, the emotions of and everything, and then she's and then Zuko finds it. They go on some. I haven't nailed down everything, but essentially, Zuko is the one to be there for her in her time of need. And Azula ends up giving her to Zuko to adopt because Azula knows that the best thing for her daughter's life is to be with Zuko. Because Azula is now over her pride. Because before Azula would have been like, no, like I am the best thing for anyone ever. And now she's gotten over herself to realize that she can give her daughter a better life by her being somewhat selfless and giving her daughter up for adoption. All right, it'll be a good character arc. It's not too grand. It's not like, oh, Azula's a good person. Azula's on the good side now. Like, no, Azula is still like she's just I wouldn't say she's redeemed, but she's more redeemed than before. She's not like a full good guy. She's not Zuko at that point. I don't think she will never be like Zuko. That would be out of character for her. So I would like a story like that.
I would like to see Zuko and Sokka middle aged fighting crime.
Okay.
That's all I got. I didn't develop that idea. It just sounded fun. Just becoming
Or
best
Zuko.
buddies, like a buddy comedy where Zuko's the bad cop and Sokka's the good cop.
Yeah.
Just Rush Hour,
The,
but with those two.
the only thing I can speculate on is like maybe Zuko going to find a dragon because we don't know how he got Daruk, which is the Druk. I
Oh,
think
I
is his
mean,
name, Druk or Daruk.
I don't know if we ever really decided how people say it, but I know that's how we decided that we were gonna say it.
Yeah.
You
Um,
know me, I'm all about dragons, man. If we can hear a story about Zuko getting a dragon, I am down. Let's do that.
yeah.
I would say
Uh,
the same for. Oh, you can address Kyoshi next. So if I was guessing,
uh,
middle aged
you
Zuko.
you you guess Kyoshi because I don't have an idea on I have sort of an idea on Korra, but go ahead with Kyoshi.
Um, I don't know if I have a good guess, but I think I definitely think it's going to be after, right? They're not going to try to stuff another in between story. There's not enough room there. We saw too
Hmm.
much. We've been too much. So I'm going to say like let's say in her 20s. We're going to see 20s. Wait, did I say Kyoshi? I meant Korra. I want to talk about Korra. Kyoshi's is going to be
Okay.
much later. Kyoshi's is going to be oh, I hope it's like 200-year-old Kyoshi. That would be sick.
Yeah, let's talk about Korra. I have more thoughts about Korra.
Yeah, Korra. I was thinking like 20s Korra, like maybe even an established relationship with Asami, and
Hmm.
let me think, what's gonna happen? Some kind of presidential overthrow, some kind of coup in Republic City, and then somehow the spirit world's gonna be involved via the villain. Villain has
Yeah,
connection to the spirit world somehow.
so I think Mike and Brian would totally do this because I'm going on with your thought here, right? But you know how like the fans are like, man, we need to see Team Avatar as adults, like we need that. And Mike and Brian would be like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do Korra as an adult. Like, it would make some fans mad because
But
they
wouldn't
wouldn't see
seeing
like,
Zuko and Sokka as adults kind of scratch the Team Avatar as adults
and
itch?
that might scratch the
And
itch,
it could
sure.
be in the background. That's
Um,
fine.
yeah. Um, but what was the point? Oh, I do. I could see them. I don't see that much story for them to tell, like the 5 year span right after. Legend of Korra ends.
Hmm? I need a bigger gap than
So
that.
I think so. I think so. I think you need like maybe Korra in her like early 30s, like even married to Asami.
Maybe
Like I think
32,
that would
33,
be
still out to prove that she's got lots of life left to live and that really I'm not that old.
mm,
Make
yeah,
me feel
yeah,
good
yeah.
about me.
And I could see them giving her I could see them giving her a family with Asami. For one
That'd be
thing,
fun.
we've never seen an Avatar with a family before. We've never seen what that dynamic is. Also, we've never seen in a Y7 kids movie a a gay couple with as main characters with kids who are high fantasy BA type of characters. So I can see Mike. I mean, Mike and Bryan isn't always. I feel like they don't necessarily tell stories, I guess, to push boundaries, but they don't mind pushing boundaries,
Well, that's part of what
or
makes
pushing the
them
envelope.
really attractive is they don't like adhere to norms, but they're not just contrarian, right? It's not like an auteur thing,
Yes.
like let's do the least expected thing. It's like no, they just kind of tell what they feel like inspired to
Yeah,
tell at the
yeah,
time, and that's why they tell good stories.
yeah. But I could see Core and Asami having like two kids who either I don't know if I want to say they're adopted or they've somehow have borrowed some supplies.
I'm going to
Um,
say the adopted route sounds cleaner for a
I think
TV
that
show, but I mean,
the
I'm
adopted
open
route,
minded.
I think, is better because to
Easier
me,
to
it's not. To
explain.
me, also to me, it's not going to make a difference. It's not
Hmm.
to me. It doesn't make a difference if you're adopted or you're biological. Like if you have that parent, if you are a parent, you're a parent, and that's going to come across no matter what and within those characters.
Maybe they
Uh,
probably don't even have to address it, right? They just have kids and
exactly, exactly.
let's
They
normalize
honestly,
it.
yeah, yeah. So I think that dynamic has never been explored before in the Avatar universe of a 33-year-old kind of domestic family trying to save the world and be a family at the same time. Like you are like how does that feel being the how does that feel for Korra as the Avatar that the whole world needs her, but does her family need her more? That type of story. I don't know what villain and necessarily plot I have in my head right now. It's they could go a number of ways. Korra hasn't faced anyone at Fire Nation yet. Um, Maybe somewhere down that route. I mean, nothing. No Airbender is gonna top Zahir. No, I don't see an Earthbender topping Kuvira or a Waterbender topping Amon. Like,
Or truck driver
uh,
topping Gazan.
yeah, that's true.
I don't see it. No, I think the spirit world's got to be involved somehow when there's Korra.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Kavira didn't do much of the whole
Although,
spirit world stuff other than stealing the vines. Like I think a trip to the spirit world is in order, like an elongated one maybe.
yeah. I mean, maybe. What spirit or spirits could
Well, the
she?
other thing
I
about
mean,
this,
She already faced Vatu, though, who's the living embodiment of evil and chaos and everything. So I don't know. I don't know. But I can see it being. I can see it either being spirit or being Fire Nation related.
I'm gonna
Um.
say human person in touch with the
So,
spirit world a little more Zahir
yeah.
style.
But then it's that treading too much on the Unalaq type of
Oh
deal. I don't
well,
know.
no, that's a real good point.
Like I don't. I feel like Core has faced like almost like she's faced a person who's all about order. She faced a fascist. She faced a person who's all about chaos. She faced a person who's all about spirits. Like what other like theological ideology was missing from a villain? Maybe a person who's all about power, like
Spirit disguised
survival of
as
the
a human
fittest.
causing hijinks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh
I don't know.
dear.
I'll be really interested to see.
Hmm.
But
Well, maybe that's part of the surprise, like you mentioned. It's not that when you say Korra's story is over, that sounds very like that sounds like too harsh. But I think the idea is that like no, it was a perfect amount of closure, and we've kind of heard the things we need to hear.
yeah. And I could see Korra regressing. Well, characters regress all the time. Like character
Humans
arcs are
regress all the
not.
time, absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. Character arcs aren't linear. So I can see her regressing in some manner, especially if her family's threatened in one manner or the other. So
How about Kyoshi? Give me some thoughts on Kyoshi.
man,
I'm casting my vote for
Kyoshi,
200-year-old
it's
Kyoshi, still whooping ass. When
old lady Kyoshi, like Logan, just like how does she go out?
kind of
I
with
don't
like
think they would do that.
I want to
This is the first.
like a tough
This is
attitude, like this grouchy old lady, except for she's
hmm.
7 feet tall or whatever. And somebody's like, look at that old
No
lady
though.
Avatar, and they try to rob her, and she just like pinches her fingers together and just crushes the life out of him, you know,
So
with
I
rocks.
think you might be on two. I'm two minds about this. I think you could be on something, right? Because the old man Logan type of
That worked.
formula.
It's a great
Like
movie.
the thing about Kyoshi, the Kyoshi lived to be 230, right? So even at 100, she's like, everyone I loved is gone. Like Rengi is gone. Kelsang died way earlier. Like all my loved ones are gone,
What's the
and like
beginning of Kyoshi's second wind, right? Like she's 100. She's like, all my friends are gone. I've done my avatarly duties. I already separated the island. I'm ready to die. And then, but she's only 100
but
years old.
she can't die though for some reason. I think the reason why she decided to purposely live, I don't think she naturally lived to 230. But one thing, it was a math error. But yeah, but that that was standing.
Get
Mike
out of
and
here.
Bryan are not good in that. Um, so anyway, but she's
But like
230
we
in
learned
canon.
in
She lived to
the
30.
first novel,
So yeah, in the first novel, so she purposely it was unnatural for her to live to be 230. She used some type of technique, either from um, Lee, I think it might have been his name,
I forget. It's been too long.
the immortal assassin guy who's like, if you use earthbending, like you can control the cells in your body to not age as fast. She also probably learned something from that waterbending master lady who was like, I can slow death for people, right? So she probably used some type of combination of the two being the avatar.
I think she hits
Um,
100 and she's ready to go, and then something happens. Like she's 100, she stops doing those things. She's waiting, and then something emotional, like familial, happens,
yeah,
where she's like, "Gotta keep going." Gets
yeah,
rejuvenated,
but
keeps whooping
so yeah,
ass.
so what? But I feel like her being 100 and all her loved ones have died makes her feel detached from the world, right? Like the Avatar is not supposed to be detached from the world. They're supposed to be in the world, living in it. But I could see her being 100, just being like, I got to stick around
That's
because one
so
thing,
old. That's like pure Logan that you're talking about. Like just wheeling around the
yes, yeah,
professor, except for she is also the professor and Logan kind of at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah. But I think she's gonna feel like she has to stick around because Korra died at 33 and left things an absolute mess.
And she doesn't
She's
trust.
holding on as long
She
as she
doesn't
can.
delegate well. She's grumpy and old.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
And
it.
so I do
I
think
don't know what
there's,
that.
I think that story is gonna be surrounded about attachment and things like that.
I don't know what they're actually gonna do, but I hope there's a badass 100-plus-year-old
Yeah,
woman in it.
yeah. Although that being said, I can see them not doing that because story wise, a story of when your main character is 100 years old,
It's rare, Chris.
I don't. It's very rare, but it might be rare for a reason. Like the target audience, the target audience is it's all families, but it's going to be Y7 probably at most be PG-13. Um, but like kids don't really relate to a 100-year-old person who's lost touch with the world and all their loved ones have died. Like kids haven't even fathomed that all their loved ones will die, and they'll
They
probably
haven't figured all it
outlive
out
them.
yet, and we're trying. It's pretty heavy. Maybe we'll go back to the drawing board on that
Yeah,
one.
we'll tell. But if they did go with a young like 35-year-old Kyoshi, I don't know what they could do. They're not going to do uh Chin the Conqueror because one thing I don't think that story is all that nuanced. I mean, they could probably ask to, but they said they're not going to do that. Essentially, it's all new stuff. But I don't know. We'll see.
Early days of Kyoshi Island or something like that. I mean, there's plenty of years of content to work with.
Yeah. Um, Other thing about Avatar studio news, if we're done speculating here,
Yeah, that's as
they did.
terrible a
Okay,
guesses as I can contrive.
yeah, they did say that it'll be 2D animation. Yeah, because
Hmm?
there was kind of they were playing with the idea, I think, early on and doing like 3D animation, sort of like Spider-Verse and Arcane, and they're like, nah, nah, we don't. I think they were like maybe just just thought
I mean, you
came to
gotta
them.
explore your options. That feels so
Yeah,
Disney Pixar to me, and we've kind of talked about it before. It's not that I'm tired of it. I get more of that than I do good 2D animation these days.
exactly.
And
Yeah, and Brian was like, that's kind of our bread and butter is 2D animation and stuff. It's like we don't want to copy them. Like they did that stuff, they did it great. Like they did beautiful, but like other people are going to be copying them, of course, because because they were so successful at it, and we're not going to be copying them in
I'm pretty sure the
that
last
way.
like 80 years of color television has proven that people really haven't gotten tired of 2D animation yet. Like it's
Yeah, like when I go to the movie theater and see like an anime movie, and I'm like, man, this is beautiful. It's way more beautiful than like spe it's way more beautiful than like the Pixar movies that I see, to be honest.
especially as TVs and stuff get better in your house and things become like brighter and contrast is better and it looks like you're looking at a piece of paper like art that somebody drew. Like it looks amazing
Yeah,
when it's
yeah.
done well.
Yeah. What movie did I see recently? Like, especially in action, like some 3D. I've never seen 3D done in action really, really well.
I
I really haven't.
suppose multiverse is probably as exciting as I can think about, but I'm
Yeah, but to
not
me,
putting a
that's
ton of
even
thought on it.
like that even seems more constrained than anything I've seen in Avatar or in anime.
That's
Like,
fair.
oh, it just I haven't seen it done that way before. No, but done as well before. But yeah, so that's like the news about Avatar Studios. So we have other news about the Avatar Netflix show. It's funny because like when I listen to like Brave the Elements podcast, and so they kind of just ignore any news about Netflix show. Like Janet will bring up news like, oh, if you guys never heard that they're doing 3 movies out of Avatar Studios. She does not mention the Netflix show at all. I think out of respect for Mike and Brian, because even in the podcast I was listening to Mike and Brian on, they're like in the they're talking about how they're working on the shows like in the show that shall not be named. I was like, oh dang, you guys feel that bad about the Netflix show? They weren't talking about the M Night Shyamalan movie. They were talking about the Netflix show, and I know they're about as supportive because they're like, hey, still go when they announced they were leaving from it. They're like, there's still people we've worked with on it, and like we still hope it's good, but like it was just not good working environment and stuff like that. And so it's just funny that like I feel like there's just kind of this weird like two sides of Avatar type of deal going on now.
I mean, at least they are consummate professionals.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Anyway, Netflix news. So there's been some casting news updates. Master Paku. Sorry if I scooted up. I look kind of blind. My eyes look like.
Chris is
Anyway,
looking at this like on half of his phone screen right now. It's very
yeah.
limited.
Master Paku has been cast, and there's just a picture that's up right now. It's like, holy crap, that's great. That's what is a great
He's
picture.
his face is so intense.
Yeah, like it looks it's a like the two pictures are really two really good pictures
They
to use
yeah,
with
they
each other.
knocked it out. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
either of these actors, but great
Well,
capture.
yeah. So A Martinez has been cast as Masapaku. I don't know who he is either. I have no idea. But Ember Mid Hunter, I am very familiar with. She's been cast as Princess Yue, which makes me happy, also makes me sad. So I know her from the FX show called Legion, which is about Professor X's son, who is like it's a really good show. It's really creepy. Although I say that and I haven't watched season 2 yet, which is really weird for me because I was really, really into season 1, and for some reason I just haven't gotten around to finish season 2, and it's been done now for like 2 years. But anyway, she's in that show, and she's placed this kind of like moody kind of person, and she's Native American. And so when I cast my Legend of Korra live action casting, I fan cast her as
You can't see that.
um of course I can. I fan casted her as uh Eska or Desna. Desna? No, Eska.
Oh,
Wait. Yeah, I think she'll be
I
I think she would have been a
yeah,
great
get
Eska.
them
But
mixed up. Uh,
because she kind of gives off those kind of Audrey Plaza vibes in a lot of things she does.
A. Martinez is known for roles in soap operas and The Curse of Chucky, Ambulance, Powwow Highway. I mean, he's been an actor for a long time, but nothing big. But soap operas primarily. He's got a soap
Hmm.
opera-ish face. I can see that.
Yeah. Also, April Midhunter will be in the Predator movie coming up called Prey. She'll play the main character there, which
Hmm.
people seem to be excited for that movie. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be out in theater. I think it's going to be premiere streaming. I don't know. But that's like the big wrapped production
Fun
or the wrapped
fact.
filming.
Fun fact about Shawn, Chris. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but one of my favorite scenes in movie history, in any movie ever, just like small snippet scenes, is from the first Predator movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger sets a trap for the Predator and he's trying to lure the Predator over it, and it's literally just Arnold Schwarzenegger in a tree, like yelling for a few seconds. He's just like, "Come on over here, come on, do it, I'm over here." And I don't know why, but every time I think about any Predator movie, I have to like go watch on YouTube, just watch that scene again because it's stupid and it's amazing, and I love it.
Hmm.
It's right up there with Wayne Knight fixing a divot in Space Jam. It's very high on my list.
Cool. I don't think I've ever really seen most of the Predator movies, to be honest.
It's not my
I,
jam of
yeah.
movie, but that first one and that scene in particular, I love. But they're, I don't know, they're not my jam.
Do you see any other like notable news items off of the website?
It says live action Appa, Momo, and other creatures will be a combination of practical effects on set and CGI, which is kind of the norm.
Hmm.
131 cast members, so non-background, non-stunt performing cast members in season one. Season one of live action series is retelling of book one, Water, with the feel of books two and three. That doesn't sound like news. That sounds like speculation. Those did we cover C.S. Lee being Avatar Roku? We covered
Yeah,
that maybe 2 months ago, right?
yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. So
Okay.
we're getting back farther than things we haven't covered. But yeah. Well, hey, I've now heard of A. Martinez. I'll ask my mom. She's probably seen him. She'd be like, "Oh, that guy." She's a big fan of the soaps. It's his role in Avatar is even kind of soap opera ease. I was married. I was betrothed to your mother, and now I must fight you.
Yeah.
Well,
Huh.
I think that's all the news I have. Chris, if you don't have anything else, we figured we'd save our How Are You segment for the end of this. Figured we'd cover the news first and flip the script and ask you how you were
That is
doing.
weird. I don't know if I like that we did that, but anyway,
Uh, um,
it's okay. I'm the one that ever suggested it.
I don't, well, I don't know. It feels rude to get to business. Like I'm very Midwestern, and so it feels
Yeah,
rude
no,
to,
that's right. It's
but,
true.
live and
I
learn.
think I think I listened to this one podcast over. It's about the DC anime universe, and they save all their stuff to last. Like
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, hey, what are you watching?" And stuff. How's your week and stuff? And I was curious at it, but also I just listened to like the Strauss podcast, and they talked for like a legit 40 minutes until they got into the show that they were reviewing, and I enjoyed just them talking about like their weeks and stuff and things like that.
Their first 40 minutes of the Fake Doctors Real Friends podcast, that's my favorite part. I love it. I don't even care as
Yeah.
much about the actual podcast, but I still listen to the whole thing. But
Yeah. But my
Chris,
week,
yeah, how are you?
I'm doing. I think I'm doing back. I'm back to doing great as usual. There was like last 3 weeks have been rough on me. Um, which usually. Usually my weeks are never really that rough. I have a pretty plain boring life. But I had a death in the family like 3 weeks ago. That was rough. My uncle died. I wasn't that close to him, but he was a big presence in the family. He'll be really missed. Great guy, really great person. He died unexpectedly. He was like 61, died in his sleep.
Went
Um,
61 and like pretty healthy.
no, he had heart problems, which I've
Okay.
if I had to speculate, he probably had a heart attack or something in the sleep. Which
Hmm.
because I've read up like how do people die in their sleep, and anyway, not important. But
Well, I'm sorry to hear
and
that he died.
then oh, well, thank you. Because then like 2 weeks ago, I went to Tulsa for his funeral. I went there Tuesday, uh, and then Wednesday, I came back Wednesday, and then worked Thursday. I had training all day, and then Friday was Juneteenth, and I had to go to work because I was co-hosting this Juneteenth celebration at work, and I didn't really get much done. And then camp starts really that Sunday following that. And camp is like some people. Camp is like the most emotionally draining, physically draining week of the whole year. And this week was like more emotional than usual, which is saying a lot. It was a great week though. Like I love camp. It's like it's the best. It's the uh, it's like it's all the corny stuff that people say about things. Like this is the best week. Like it's the most rewarding work. It was really great. Um, I saved a girl's life. Uh, she
You said that real casual. No biggie.
too big. I saved a girl's life.
No,
That's what
no
I
big
do.
deal.
It's not. I save kids' lives all the time, and I don't look for
I
tragedies.
lost count.
But one time there was a kid. There was a Code Adam at Walmart. I think I've mentioned this before. There was a Code Adam at Walmart because I
This
was
is
working
new
at
to me.
Walmart.
No.
Okay, so I worked at Walmart in college for like 5 months. Uh, and there was a Code Adam. Code Adam is, if you don't know, is when a kid goes missing. So he's wearing a leather jacket with aviator glasses. And I look down and there's the kid. I'm like, oh, hey. And I'm like, hey, well, I'll take you up and stuff. So then I'm taking him up there and stuff. So I find him. I find the kid. And then this other lady working camera, she's like, oh, I can take him. I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine. And then I didn't pay it any mind until probably about 5 years later. And she stole my credit. That's what she was doing. She stole my thunder. I found that kid. She probably got some rewards. I
Her parents are probably just throwing money at him. At
mean,
like, thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
I saved that kid.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is in Pittsburgh, Kansas. There's probably some like his kids' parents might have been racist. Who knows? I'm not saying they were. Pittsburgh, Kansas. I didn't have that many racial issues there, but like, what if I change? What if I save someone's kid and they're like, oh my goodness, black people are amazing. Like I
you
could
could
change
have,
the minds
you could have
of
helped somebody change their whole perception.
yeah.
I said I've been to Pittsburgh like
Uh,
once. I don't really. All I can do is judge and guess, but
it's pretty white,
that's believable.
but it's
That's
okay.
one part I would have guessed.
It's but anyway, so back to camp. We were it was early in the morning. It was Friday morning for one thing, so it's like the last day of camp. Last day of camp was like weirdly enough, it was usually last day of camp is pretty mellow. Kids might be acting up a little bit because it's the last day they don't like to leave and stuff like that. But we woke up. One thing, I woke up at 3 o'clock. I woke up at 4:30 with a headache. I hate doing that.
That's not a real time of day,
Go to,
Chris.
yeah. The thing is, we can't even have pills on us because we don't want kids getting pills and stuff. So I can't leave because to go to like a nurse. One thing, I'm not gonna wake up the nurse to get a headache pill anyway. So I woke up with a headache.
It's just that
And that, well,
normally in your
also,
house you would just go to the bathroom and grab an
yeah,
ibuprofen, but this is like the one
yeah,
week of the year where you can't do that without
yeah,
ruining somebody else's night.
yeah. Also, I told the kids that, hey, we'll wake up in the morning, we'll go fishing because it was the last day to fish, and no, it was the last opportunity to fish if we woke up before breakfast and went fishing. So we woke up at like 6 o'clock. So I was like up for like an hour and a half. the headache, which sucked. But anyway, so and a lot of other people went fishing too because it was the last time they go. So girl was like on the dock. The thing is, before she fell, like we're all fishing out on the dock, and her toes are like over the dock. I was like, hey, you might want to back up a little bit. She's like, "Oh, I'm okay." Just to preface that. And then we're all fishing. All I hear is a splash, a big splash. And I turn and I just see her just in the lake. And then I pull her out the lake and stuff. And she's just holding me. And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. You're fine. You're fine. And then, but she gets me all wet because she's wet
Oh, you
and
didn't like
stuff.
get to do like a cool lifeguard dive in after?
No, I didn't. It's
Oh,
okay.
I don't know, Chris. That
So,
barely counts as saving a life. I think
I know.
you've saved 1.5 lives tops.
Yeah. But like it didn't take much. Like I just well actually it was harder to pull her out the water than I
Because
thought.
you're like belly on the dock, right? And you,
Yeah, I had to get I thought and also if I don't want to accidentally fall into the dock, but also anyone else there could have saved her also. I told my mom that. My mom was like, yeah, but God put you there to save her. And I was like, okay, all right, thanks, mom.
no, that's
That's
nice. Well, that's mom
yeah,
doing mom things. That's nice.
I know, right? The thing is
It's
so at
like
the end of
that's
camp,
peak mom right there.
yeah,
God
right.
put you
It's
there to
like
save that little
God
girl.
used you there. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right,
I'll take
mom.
that. Yeah.
The thing is, last day of camp, we always wear just other T-shirts, and when we all sign it, when everyone signs each other's T-shirts, and she signed mine, and then she signed like "Thanks for saving me," so she thinks I saved it. So,
I mean,
so
you definitely did. I had this vision of you like running off like a
oh, me
beautiful
jumping, yeah,
swan dive,
yeah.
and then
The funny thing is, like, my mom tells me every time before I go to camp, she's like, if a kid falls in that lake, don't go in there and save them. You're not a strong swimmer. Don't do that. And so then when I called her after, I was like, I didn't take her advice. I saved the girl and didn't, even though she fell. And then I told her, I was like, I didn't have to go into the water though.
yeah, but I feel like your mom's just propagating stereotypes right now. Come on.
I mean, I'm not a strong swimmer,
Oh, are you actually not? Okay,
but
well that's fair.
no, I'm not a strong swimmer.
I am not a
Yeah,
strong. I
but
am strong enough that I would try my best, but like if you ever read that I died trying to save a kid, you'd be like, yeah, I'm not a good swimmer either.
yeah, I mean, she was also wearing a life vest. She would have
Oh
been,
well.
yeah. They the story gets weird. They have to wear life vests out on the deck
So if you don't want the story to
because
be
of that
spoiled,
reason.
shut it off at 42 minutes. This is when you're going to cut this
Um,
episode.
and then and then what happened? Oh, there's a really funny thing. So the kids have I'm sorry. This is the kids get their face painted right, and so like there was this like gymnasium area I was in, and the kids are getting their face painted out front, outside of it, and so like this kid walks in, and I'm like, what the heck? He had he had blackface. That's not funny in itself, but his face was painted completely black in a circle. It looked like blackface. I was like, what is going on here? Like the thing, and he sat by this in big industrial fan. You know how fans
Hmm?
are in gymnasiums, right?
Hmm.
The thing is, I was hot. I was about to go sit in front of the fan. But I was like, no, I'm not sitting by him in blackface. Like, I don't want my picture to be taken
This
and people be like, Chris, but so
this get pulled out of context. It's gonna start to look real messed up.
I go up to this black counselor named Aaron, and Aaron's like married into a bunch of family members. Well, not but he's married into it's not a Mormon thing. Yeah,
He's married
he
into a
married into
bunch of
this.
wives.
Yeah, he has one wife, but her mom like runs the camp, and her sisters all around the camp and stuff like that. Like bunch of family in there. So I go up because and he's been at the camp now for probably 8 or so years. So I go up to him. I'm like, hey man, what's up with your boy down there by the fan? He's like, what are you talking about? And he looks at the fan. He's like, is he in blackface? I'm like, he's in total blackface. He's like, why is he in blackface? Like, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then there's this other black counselor uh, girl, and he looks. She's like, it's like, did you see him down there? And she's like, wait, what? Why is he in blackface? So then she goes down and talks to him, and then she's like, and then she comes back up and she's laughing, and she's like, listen, there's a story behind it, guys. There's a story. She was like, he he wanted his face to be a skull, but he wanted it to be like, I don't know, like a darkened black skull. So he wanted the black to go on first, and then he was in front of the fan to dry it, and
So
then
he
he was going
wasn't
back to get the white
done.
painted over it.
Okay, that's
So that's what made it all fun. That's why I'm laughing now. At first, I was not laughing. I was like, "Who the heck painted his face
we
black?"
need.
Like,
Is that person a
like, cause
counselor here? And did they fill out the questionnaire
so
before they?
that's the thing. We're like, it must like Aaron was like, we had these teenagers volunteering who were previously at the camp. One that was awesome, great to see previous campers come back to be volunteers. But they're like 16, and so we're like, it had to been somebody young who don't know any better, just because no adult would paint blackface on a kid. Um, but it was an adult. She was just like, really, she looked at us kind of cluelessly. They were like, it was the but it was just funny. Like it was really funny.
It makes me.
Yeah,
It's just a Dungeons and Dragons community episode. Ken Jeong
yeah.
misunderstanding.
Well, then I was like, it's like that's one of those European. Like there's a certain country in Europe that they do. It's. I wouldn't say it's innocent. I mean, I guess it's fairly. Then they have a holiday where they dress up in blackface. It's weird.
Is that like a weird midsummer mid? I don't know how to say
Something like
midsummer
that.
thing or something. It's
Midsummer.
kind of messed up.
But yeah. But then oh also so yeah, that was funny. Last day of camp was like weird though. One of my kids got in a fight with a kid and he was just completely unhinged. Like and I don't blame him. Like all these kids are going through issues and stuff. But like we had to like restrain him. Like and me and this other guy, Bryan, had to like hold him by the arm and stuff. And that was sad to end on that note. Like I didn't get like a good chance to just have time with my kids, my other three kids and stuff. But I want to, like I said, I don't blame any of the kids. These kids have it rough, man. He especially also has a rough. But yeah, that was my long story short. That was emotionally draining. The whole week was pretty emotionally draining. It's just a draining week in general. And also I had an interview Monday, and so like right when I got done with camp, I started prepping for an interview, which I hate prepping for interviews because I get just a little bit of anxiety and stuff
Interviews
about
are
it. And
inherently dumb, just on their own.
yeah, especially this one because I actually just have the job. Um, uh, and so I finally had an interview Monday, and I feel like after Monday, I finally had a chance to just like breathe after just like 2 weeks of just kind of nonstop, like not just being able just to sit for a while. Just so I'm back, I guess, just being in a much better mind frame.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you saved that child's life, and you only had to get. I for real thought your mom was
Oh, I did.
like making a stereotype joke. It's like
No,
Chris can swim.
I would say this. I did meet a lot of people who love Avatar now.
Oh, no kidding.
Like I wore first day of training. I wore this Alpha shirt that I got, and people are like,
Kids, adults, or both.
uh, some kids, yeah, a lot more
Okay,
kids watched it now,
nice.
and
Because it's on
a lot
Netflix,
of
so kids
adults.
just scrolling
Yeah,
through, right?
yeah,
Like,
and a lot of adults. Like I talked to them, and they're like, I was like, yeah, man, I got my own podcast. They're like, you have your own podcast? I'm like, yeah, I'm like deep into this, man. Like,
I always feel like you should
this,
tell people. Like when I tell people I have podcasts, I'm like, yeah, it's free. Actually, like you can just do it. Like we're
anybody
not
can.
vetted in any way.
Anyone, no one chose me
Right.
to.
Bryke didn't
Although
call us, and like say like, hey, is this guy's legit?
I do mention though, like, and the people are like, yeah, man, I hosted like a huge event
Trivia panel.
at Comic Con. Yeah,
We're
trip.
legit.
Oh, that reminds me. I bought two. I got two new items for next year, which are pretty cheap, like an Aang statue, which is like original $39, and I got it for 24, and something else. So
I'm gonna start printing worksheets now, so we have enough. Uh, my last couple of weeks were not nearly as interesting as yours, but what it amounted to is that like my wife and I on the Tuesday you were at camp. So I had a work thing on Wednesday. I go to the office every Tuesday. It's just the day that we go to the office, and we just go. And if you don't feel good, you don't go. I felt great. But on Wednesday, there was a different thing at the office where people were coming in from out of town. And because it was like an event, they're like, you have to take a COVID test. Like, whatever, this is stupid. Well, then I had COVID. And then Heather also had COVID. And we were just both like completely asymptomatic, and we had like no known exposures. But we like both double tested and got the PCR test. But like the only reason I took the test was just because I had to for Wednesday. But then like I had to go through the shame of like telling all my coworkers like, hey, you know how we were all like together all day today, and then we went out to eat today, and then we were in a small meeting room for like 3 hours today. Well, I have COVID. Now,
that's like when on The Office when Michael thought he had an STD, so he was calling all his past lovers.
I felt the same level of shame that Michael felt. Absolutely. No, it's really weird just to like have to say that, and then I had to be like, well, let's again. The only reason I tested, but long story short, nobody else got it from us. But Heather loved it because she had to work from home, like even asymptomatic, and it turns out she didn't realize that like how good I have it working from home, and that might have like ruined some things for me. Like I was like, wow, it's not as fun as you think it is. Well, now she knows that it is exactly as fun as you think it is. Kind of ruined it. So we had COVID, and then we just stayed home all week with no commitments whatsoever, and it was pretty amazing. And then it also allowed me to finish a YouTube video that got like 5 times as many views as any of my other videos, relative to my other videos.
Do you think you? So this is a serious, legit, not criticism, but so I watched the video. One day I watch pretty much all your videos, I think. Well, not all of them.
You almost always say something about them, so I presume.
Yeah, okay. But I do think your most recent video is one of your best. It's very polished. Something about it seemed
I
really
would say
and very polished and legit.
I felt like I actively tried really hard to make it resemble other YouTube videos, right? Like I tried to create the subject with the title that was YouTube appealing, right? I tried to find the YouTube. I even tried to find the best way to word the YouTube title and all the little details. And then just curious though, you as a viewer, and you're a Switch owner, so you're kind of in the right audience ballpark. You're my age, you have a Switch. Does it bother you that I use the what the heck is it called? The trailers instead of captured footage? I love the trailers because they show way better stuff than I'm ever going to capture anyway. But does it?
No, it seems like a lot of work.
And you know,
well, one thing it doesn't. No, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I get what you're trying to communicate with those visuals is just the sense of the gameplay or just the game itself in general, and that comes across in trailers. Like that's what trailers do.
Much better if I capture game footage for 5 games.
It would just be like you walking around, and like it's not gonna capture. Yeah,
I think if you have to do like a really thorough review, like okay, well I want to see that this guy's like actually played into the game and it's like a credibility builder. That video didn't really do that, and so I went the trailer route, and it made life a lot easier, right? Because I had like good 720p footage that I didn't have to do anything to. So yeah, I'm curious if it bothers people. It didn't seem to. Nobody said anything about it, and in fact, a lot more people watched it. So that's good. And I had a lot of time. I had all the time in the world last Wednesday through whatever. Basically, I did it all on Wednesday because I didn't have anything better to do. So yeah, long story short, asymptomatic COVID, which is kind of why you still have to be careful because, you know, we could have transmitted it to like somebody who wasn't vaccinated or somebody high risk, right? Yeah. So continuing to sort of be cautious and aware, but otherwise I had a good week. And I was gonna say, yeah, your best video had, what'd you say, like 10.5 mil, something like that?
No,
1.5 mil.
2, maybe 1.5.
1.2. Okay. And so I think this one is like up to 400. And as far as like first week performance, it was like 10 times better than any other first week performance I had. But then it made my statistics look really good because I I added like 12 subscribers in just a few days. And so it like made all my stats like really bonkers in terms of percentage. It made me feel really good about myself. So Chris, now I have you only have 70 times as many subscribers as I do now. Only 70 times as many subs.
Yeah. 1.1 million. Yeah.
1.1 mil. That's a decent day's work right there. That's a
Yeah.
decent day's
The
work.
thing is, so oh wait, you can't see me now probably.
I cannot.
But I want to go look.
I mean, it's a picture of your
And
face, but
yeah. But like, so there's an Aziz Ansari or Childish Gambino joke where it's just like, uh, oh, what happened? I'll say the Aziz Ansari joke because he goes into Kanye West's house and Kanye West is listening to his own music
everybody
and
shut the
Aziz is like,
fuck up.
homie over here
We're
trying
gonna
to tell
tell
some
some
jokes.
jokes. This is a
And that was like the
nightmare.
nicest thing that anyone's ever said to me at a comedy show before. But anyway.
But I think what you're talking about is Kanye West listening
Yeah.
to his own music, bobbing his head, and then he says,
Yes.
"These
Yeah.
beats are dope."
Yeah. These beats are dope. He's like, that's like me driving my own car, listening to my own comedy. Yeah, these jokes are dope. Anyway, my point is that I watch if we make good enough podcast episodes, like there are certain podcast episodes of ours that I legit go back and re-listen to or rewatch, and that's the same with my videos. Like I went back and watched the one I did about like pride fairly often, or especially the one I did about the black cartoon characters who aren't black.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think like I made some, and also made a couple other videos. Like those videos I feel like are some of my favorite videos. They're something about them are well made. They connect to me in a certain sense. The Who Married Zuko video, I don't think I ever rewatched that, and that's the one that has 1.1 million views. And that's when I was just like, I think I want to do a video real quick about Who Married Zuko. I just ranked them and then just wrote out a pretty quick thing. It took me like a day maybe to do, but like a busy day, not like I've been
But
working
it
on this all
just it's
day.
that snappy title. It's that I don't know. It's a very YouTube appealing like subject and title and everything. Whereas like the characters that were black, like I remember you struggling with how do you put that in a title, like what you actually meant.
Yeah,
Because in reality,
yeah.
that could have easily been, in my opinion, one of your most amusing videos. I don't know about best, but
Yeah.
probably up there. But like one of your most entertaining, just in an all-around way, videos. It's something that I would have never thought about before. So it's one of my favorites of yours. But like, how do you translate what you were trying to do in like a YouTube title and a thumbnail? That's tough. But I wish everybody would watch that video. That's great. Like it's
Yeah, but
that didn't even cross Shawn's mind as a young Shawn. Like, what's he talking about? That guy's not black. And then you start, oh god, he's black. That's cool.
yeah. Yeah, then that Zuko video does a lot of numbers. But hey, that's cool. It's great. Like that video skyrocketed my channel, and now my channel is just like not flatlining. Something like it's dead. It's not dead. It's just plateaued because I haven't put anything really
When's the
into
last video that you've actually made?
It was the one legendary scene, I think. Which that one still gets some pretty good traction and stuff. That one did about as well as I like it to do. As long as my videos, I feel like my threshold for what makes successful videos, like, all right, if it crosses like 1,000 views within 3 weeks, I'm like, all right, this video is pretty successful. And some of them just go like, we're gonna go way out there. But as long as I can get like maybe 1,000 views, 10 comments, I'm happy with the performance of it. I'm always happy with any video I do because it's a hobby of mine. I'm not doing this to like make money and stuff like that. I just do it because I have an opinion that
for doing it to be profitable, we're doing it poorly.
yeah. So many kids want to be like a YouTuber and stuff, and I tell them like, as a YouTuber, I'm like, it's pretty hard to make. I've made some money. It's pretty hard. Like one of my kids was like, I want to be a coder or a YouTuber. I was like, coder. That's really good.
Coder.
That's
really
good work
are
there.
in such high demand right now. I feel like I want to go be a coder.
Yeah. I was like, YouTube's not
you
that
can
great.
share your
Trust
coding
me.
skills on YouTube as a side gig. That's pretty fun. It's a creative outlet.
Yeah.
I published I published the video on a Wednesday, so like Tuesday night, we tested when I got home because I knew I had to test. So then like, all right, well I guess my Tuesday night plans are canceled, and so Tuesday night and then Wednesday at like 8:30 p.m. or something, I finished it up, and I was like, a smart person would say like publish it Friday, like Friday afternoon or Saturday morning, but I published it Wednesday. I was like, whatever, and I kind of did my normal shares. And then I went to bed and I wanted to watch a specific YouTube video, and I saw I had like a little 2 like notifications. And usually for me, that's just like, hey, such and such posted a video. And I hit it and it's like, such and such got to your channel. I was like, oh, I got another sub. And then there was like 3 or 4 more. And I was like, stop it. It's just all, it was like, I'm going to say in terms of percentage instead of numbers because it makes me feel better. It's 10% subscription growth.
Oh, wow.
Because it was like I have 112, and like 10 of them were since that video was posted.
Yeah. I miss getting those notifications that so and so subscribed to your channel. I think once you pass 1,000, they stop. Giving you
that seems sensible that they wouldn't do that anymore. But no, it was good, and it kind of like motivates you, right? It gets you excited. So then I started on the next one. So maybe by next week. Not by the time this one's posted, but by the time our next video is posted, maybe. We'll see.
Go watch Shawn's video.
Oh, thanks, man. Be subscriber number 113. That's all I got, Chris. It's late. Let's go to bed.
It is late. Let's see what happened in the NBA. I don't want to talk anymore.
Oh man, hey, it's already pulled up, Chris. Let's just what
do you check? I always go to this NBA rumors. No, this is NBA.com.
Oh, you do the NBA rumors? Oh, that's a fun site.
I go to Hoops Hype and look at the rumors there.
So nothing confirmed on ESPN, but I will say that on ESPN, or maybe as a tweet, I don't remember, somebody said that league executives. So somebody saying that league executives said that if there was a team that could take on both Kyrie and KD in a massive trade, it would be the Lakers. And then they had like this insane. What's the meme? I think it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like he's got all the crazy math shit, the conspiracy theory. And it was like a 5-team trade with just ape shit stuff going all over the board.
Like, what would that be? AD and Russ straight up, and a bunch of draft picks.
AD, Russ, and they only have like 2 tradable picks though. Is the hard part for the Lakers, but they're both first rounders, so it's still valuable.
I mean, I wouldn't. I just want Kyrie Irving somehow. Somehow I can drop Russ, get Kyrie Irving, and keep AD. I think. I don't want to just get rid of players. Like Lakers aren't that type of team who just. I mean, they don't build up through the draft or something, but they at least treat their players with some. Historically, they'll keep a player for like 5. Right? They kept Shaq for like 6 or 7 years, and then they knew like, we got to pick between Shaq and Kobe. Like, and they kept Kobe, and it turned out to be
right choice.
Successful.
I mean, well, to be
but
fair,
like I wouldn't. I just don't want to get rid of Anthony Davis. Like we already want to get rid of Westbrook, which is
that's the easy choice. So like
like we won a championship with AD. Like as long as he's healthy, which I know is a big question mark, we should be at least a top 4 team in the league and could possibly win the championship.
One of my friends is a big Heat fan, and the Heat. Okay, so you got to keep in mind, I didn't know these things before today. I'm just regurgitating. I'm not pretending to be knowledgeable. But the Heat are in a situation where the Nets can't have Ben Simmons and Bam Adebayo both on their team because both of those players would have signed maximum rookie extensions on other teams. And there's a rule that prohibits that, which means that the Heat... isn't that weird? I never heard that till today. But it's from ESPN, so I believe it. So it had like a third team to take on Ben Simmons essentially to make this insane Heat trade work. And I like showed it to my friend. I was like, "Yeah, man, it's not that it's not likely. It's just that this rule prohibits it." And he's normally like a pretty grounded guy, but he came back with, he's like, "Yeah, I'd rather if they just traded." I don't even remember who he said. He's like, "I'd rather if they just traded like Tyler Hero and I don't even remember who that like the 2 other undrafted free agents." that they have as their starters. It's like, I'd rather they just trade those guys and like 2 picks for KD. And I don't know why, but it got me really fired up. It's like, well, yeah, I think most teams would rather if they traded like a folding chair for KD. It's like, what did that
He's going to get a
contribute?
lot. I mean, and the thing is, so I love that the NBA has like probably the best player empowerment. Although MLB, they get paid a lot of money there, but NBA has, I think, I don't know, they have really great player empowerment. But
I
like,
I would agree
you
that
got you
NBA
got like 3 or 4.
situationally, even the G League and what the G League does for that level of player is much sort of more appetizing than like MLB minor
Yeah.
leaguers get. For example, I think the NBA better top to bottom for
But
player.
I don't like when players request a trade and they got like 4 years left on their contract.
I have so
Like,
much respect for KD. It's like, man, you signed a really big deal and you don't have a no trade clause in there. Like, that's not their fault. That's on you, man.
also, if I'm the Nets, I'm like,
No.
no, we just signed Kyrie to an extension,
You
and we
know, it
have
turns
Ben
out
Simmons. We don't have to move you
we
right now.
we have you and Kyrie Irving surrounding Ben Simmons in the only situation that makes Ben Simmons useful, and
Yeah, yeah,
we're just gonna
exactly.
like stick to that plan, and we want you to stay here. Like, is Brooklyn that
Which I was
why does he
like,
want out
why?
of
Why?
Brooklyn? Why does he want to leave? What's the
I think they're just badly managed, but they're badly managed because you guys are there. You
good?
made them get James Harden, and then James
Which,
Harden's
yeah,
like, this is
they
a
did
crap
that.
show.
No, I mean, okay, management doesn't have to listen, but it's like, yeah, that was like you
Yeah.
guys waving that flag, and that worked out. Real, I mean, LeBron. I know you're not like partial to LeBron, other than Lakers, but he's like the same thing as like make a mess and then leave or something like that, just because of the players that he asked to get on his team.
I fully blame LeBron for this Russell Westbrook
Oh
situation.
yeah, no, that's exactly
Uh,
what I'm alluding
but but
to.
also but
But
also
it's
I would give
100%
him
him.
credit for, hey, we won a championship. Like, sure, we're not we don't have the greatest prospects right
Okay, but
now.
that's yeah. I'm not. I promise. I swear. I'm sounding like it, but I'm not like a stay in your lane guy. But yeah, like catering to players' demands is not always
Yeah,
a
it's not.
good
Yeah,
idea.
it's kind of like how Brian and Mike don't cater to fan demands.
That's actually a really nice comparison. I like that. No, today ESPN like things went from being like really quiet, and even the draft wasn't terribly exciting. It wasn't like a
That
good
was
draft
it.
overall. And then all of a sudden today, like the Pac-12 is falling apart, and everybody's accepting is declining options and looking for extensions, and Katie's getting traded. I was like, Chris, I think ESPN just had its best day of 2022 in terms of clicks.
That's the thing I
Lots
love
of
about the
clicks.
NBA is that, like, the Warriors just won the championship, but we're already like the new news story has like already picked up. Like the NBA off season is really fun.
It's
Like,
already in like full swing. One thing I do like, I mean, I like football better as a sport. I think that's relatively common knowledge, but I do like the hard cap. And so, like, the crazy, like, Bam Ben Simmons rule, like, you don't have to learn that in football. It makes it easier on my brain. It's like, if you got the cap space to trade for somebody in football, you just do it. And then you just can. But at least it keeps the NBA. What's the word? Like, every trade has to involve a third team.
oh, the Nets? There might be a six
the
team
the
trade
Thunder the
that like
Thunder are always
that.
lurking out there taking on bad contracts and draft picks. They're always
Yeah,
just waiting.
I could see there being a trade where Kyrie goes to the Lakers, Westbrook goes to OKC, Durant goes to Miami, Bam goes to the Nets. I don't know.
But if
Like,
Bam goes to the Nets, then you've just said
oh
that
wait,
Ben
wait, wait, wait,
Simmons
wait.
got
My
to
bad, my bad,
go
my bad.
to.
Ben would have to go somewhere. Yeah,
That was the weirdest thing
gosh.
I've learned all day. It's
Tyler
only
Hero goes to the Nets.
it's only when max extensions signed by players like on their rookie contracts, max rookie extensions that were signed with the rookies like drafting team, and now it's not on their draft. Like, you can't have two or more of those guys that you didn't draft on the same team. You can't have two or more. It's like that's
That's
a very
so
specific
specific.
I think it's just because that would be the best way if you could swing it to get like the best possible young players on the most palatable max contracts, so
Yeah,
to speak.
it probably helps small market teams in some way or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm sure there's like a calculated reason for it. I just thought it was very strange whenever I was like, how does that not make any sense? But whatever. And the Knicks just out there being the Knicks, just doing Knicks things.
The Knicks just blew their money. I mean, it wasn't all of it, but just like how much? Like you probably could have been in the sweepstakes for Kyrie or Kevin Durant, and you spent it on
Even
Brunson.
even if it works, because we talked about it the other day, like Jalen Brunson's probably been doubted as like his whole career. I would imagine. I watched him destroy K in the national championship game one time. No, Final Four game. And like they told stories like he was a 5-star recruit, but none of the big schools like want him all that junk. But like even if it works out, it's still such a Knicks thing to do, so Knicks like. And then every year I look at the Knicks and the Kings. I don't even pay any attention. Like I don't know if the Kings watch basketball.
The Kings, they really need to just move to Kansas City. I'm just hoping like in a year or so, like it will rejuvenate that franchise, I think, and it'll be a
they
good.
would need completely new every. I'm convinced that nobody in the Kings organization watches basketball. I think they're like just a bunch of businessmen that are like, what do we do with our money? It's
They
like, well, we
have
better buy a franchise.
Shawn. They have not been relevant since 2002 when
Since
they were facing the
Peja
Lakers, and
Stojakovic and Vlade
yeah, Mike
Divac,
Bibby.
uh, uh, we're
That
forgetting
seriously might
like
have been the
one
last time they
relatively
were in the
big name.
uh
Christie? Doug Christie?
Vlade Divac, Chris Webber.
Chris Webber, yep.
There we
And
go.
Peja
That
was a really good small forward at the time.
there's
Really young, really
yeah,
good.
Stojakovic,
We just
Doug
named the starting five
Christie,
right there. Probably
Bobby
on
Bobby
that
Jackson.
finals. Yeah, young Bobby Jackson. Uh, that was probably the final squad that we just mostly. Hato Turkoglu.
Ooh, Turkey. That's what.
Yeah, that's like there again. That's probably most of that finals roster that was contributing. I'm proud of us. Look at that shit. And did they play like Portland? Like, was that the last time Portland was relevant? Also,
No, I mean Portland's been relevant, with Dame and
oh,
stuff,
that's
but
true. Poor Dame. But that
but
Portland teams with like Arvydas Sabonis and
Rasheed Wallace,
uh,
uh, I can't think
what
Smith
like
something.
ancient Scottie Pippen, Steve Smith,
Steve Smith, that's his name. Yeah. Stoudemire, his name was like the
Damon.
Bulldog
Yeah,
something.
Damon.
Damon Stoudemire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we knowing these names?
Well, I think we're just proud of
Uh,
ourselves because we remember the
yeah.
2002 Western Conference NBA Finals or 2001
Well,
or
no, that
something.
would have been well. The Lakers went to all those conference championships and went to the finals in 2000, 2001, 2002.
At some point,
But
though,
that
that
was
those matchups happened. That Kings Portland Trailblazers of most of those guys we just mentioned.
yeah, but that was the last. The Kings have not been. They might have not been to the playoffs at all in the past since
They are
that.
they. It's almost like if Winning Time had come out like 30 years ago instead of just this year. If Winning Time had come out 30 and like some rich people watch that and be like, see, we can do that. What's
Yeah,
basketball? I don't
Kings,
know. We'll figure it out.
Kings need to move. And I don't know. Seattle might get a. Kings will either
Seattle's
move to.
allegedly gonna get a new
Yeah,
stadium,
but
and that would be a
there's a
painless.
reason they left, right?
Yeah, it was a bad stadium contract that the city wouldn't build them a new one or something like that. And that's why. What year
I'm
is
still
that? That
hoping.
would
I
have
hope
been
2000
2005,
and yeah.
five shit. Because the Bobcats were
But,
like 1 year old, and then the Supersonics were the
oh my
Thunder. So
gosh, the Bobcats, terrible
it's
name.
weird. I know.
I'm glad they got Hornets back.
I am too, as a nostalgic Hornets fan, not a current Hornets fan.
Yeah,
Nostalgic Hornets fan.
but
We're still
yeah, I'm just
recording.
hoping, just hoping. This is became just a phone conversation. That's
We gotta warn people. I'll warn people in the chat. It's like, all right, at the 50-minute marker, it just
well,
turns to
hey,
NBA talk.
we gave them the early on.
That's true. We gave them the
This
good
was
stuff.
yeah.
That's why we did it in this order, Chris. That was good thinking.
I told you I had 20 minutes worth of tangent in me, and it turned
Did
out to
you
be
mean that you
30.
had 70 minutes worth of tangents?
No, we stopped talking about Avatar at like the 45-minute
I
mark.
think it was around 40, yeah.
Yeah.
Because at
But
42
I don't know,
minutes, you saved a child, but she was wearing a life jacket. That was at 42 minutes.
hey, I saved her life.
I said you
Okay,
saved her life.
God put me there to save her life.
Hashtag mom statement of the year.
Yeah,
That is pinnacle of mom.
my mom is so religious in a way, not like a worse type of how people can be bad in religion. Just like she has a very firm belief. That's where I get my firm belief, and also my dad. But like she'll say stuff like "Lord's willing," like "Lord's willing," you know. We eat tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, that's like it doesn't matter how big or small something is. Like Lord's willing, this. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get the sentiment
My
of
mom
that.
always put it in a question
But,
mark, and that like, you think God would want you to do this? Like that, like usually when she's trying to make me stop doing something stupid. But uh, the Chris,
anyway,
so
point
without
being, Kansas City needs a basketball team.
without
Patrick Mahomes will make it
trying to
happen.
work out the details. Yeah, Pat, pony up some money. Without trying to figure out the details of the trades, give me your not your ideal,
Mm.
but your projected landing spots for. I mean, I presume that Katie and Kyrie are the two players that we're going to care about most. Don't try to work
Yeah.
out the logistics. Just tell me where they're going to
Okay.
land.
KD will end up in Phoenix, and I think eventually. I think there's enough draft picks there. Um, and Kyrie will end up a Laker only because Kyrie really wants to play where Kobe played. I think Kyrie, in a way, when he saw LeBron James win as a Laker, there was a part of him that was like, I wish that was me. And also no other teams seem to be interested in Kyrie Irving except for the Lakers. And so I think eventually then the Nets will be like, all right, we'll settle for not Russell Westbrook, but a third team who's willing to trade us assets and they're willing to take on Westbrook's uh big
Westbrook
1 year
plus
deal
picks.
because he only has 1 year left on his
Yeah,
contract, and
but it's
so
biggin. So yeah,
they
that's where
can,
the Thunder come in, like rubbing their hands together. Like give us
yeah,
Westbrook plus
yeah,
the goods, the picks, and here you can
yeah.
have.
I
Uh,
can see a three-team trade going on like that.
what do the Thunder even have to give back to the Nets in that
The
scenario?
Thunder, the Thunder has
SGA.
no.
Uh,
Well, they have a bunch of draft picks. They have like 15 first round draft picks for the next 5 years or something like that.
basically a whole roster. I think. I mean, the KD to Phoenix pick seems to have like the most traction underneath it, so that sounds good. I'm having a harder time putting my hands on Kyrie, and I still feel like Miami is going to be involved somehow. And I don't know if I think he lands there or not, but it just feels like Miami's been
Mm,
involved in every discussion, every step of the way. First
yeah,
for like Kyrie, and it just seems like kind of ready for a shakeup. So I guess I'll say Kyrie ends up there somehow or other. And Florida always has the
I can
benefit of
see,
no
I can
state
see
income
Durant.
tax. So
I can see Durant or Kyrie ending up in
well, I'm
Miami.
gonna say that one of them will, but I do like the Durant to Phoenix thing. Other than not really liking Phoenix that much, I like the idea of that happening. I guess, but and
The
like I
thing
said,
is, I think, actually, I think Aiton and Kyrie and Ben Simmons would actually make a pretty solid team, but they seem to be blown up.
Simmons and Aiton doesn't sound good to me together.
Yeah, that's true.
I know that's just two guys, but
That pick and roll will be like, all right,
just fall
just
back.
just
just,
follow them.
just let them come to you.
Yeah,
Um,
that is true.
I think, uh, and Florida just is always, always, always in play. I mean, not the Magic, but like normal Florida
Yeah,
because of the state sales tax deal. And you might think that doesn't sound
yeah.
like a lot, but it's like, all right, well, again, once you make
No,
millions of dollars, that couple percent, it's a pretty big deal. So Florida's always in play, and everybody likes playing for Pat Riley. It's more about who Pat Riley does not like playing for him. So Heat are going to be in play somehow. I just don't know how.
It'll be interesting.
Already pretty interesting. All right, I'm going to bed for real though. This is
All right.
I'm glad we got to record today though, when like all the news was exciting before we hear all the stuff that'll happen between now and it posting. So it'll feel like we got our picks in before we heard news. That's pretty exciting. Hey, if you're still here for some reason, that's awesome. My name's Shawn. That's Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. This is Avatar The Last Podcasters, who also occasionally pulls up ESPN on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Is that a Saturday Night Live skit? The basketball. Gimme. Have you ever seen that one?
I think I have.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, it's annoying, but it's good.
To the ESPN one night.